Welcome everybody inside the Shokhouz. It's your man, Big Shot Bob Robertson, and I'm here with p-boogie and Joe, the mouth of the South, Bombo, aka D-Mods, and we're here because we still believe that sports is life.
Life is sports.
Life is sports. We have a great show on deck this week. Derek Fisher introduced by the New York Knicks, and Johnny Manziel thrown on the bus by a teammate. But first, the NBA Finals. After 3 games, we are sitting exactly where we were sitting last year with the San Antonio Spurs up 2-1 over the Miami Heat. Guys, let me start with you, Joe. What did you see from the first 3 games?
From the first 2 games, I've seen a Heat team that seemed to be the better of the 2 teams. I don't know if it was to the lack of San Antonio not playing their best ball or the Heat just coming out aggressive. The last game I just seen, it seemed like the Heat didn't come out aggressive at all.
Felt like game 1, Miami had a chance. LeBron was getting whatever he wanted, and unfortunately, he had the cramp situation. You know, the AT&T Center, right or wrong, players all had to play with that condition. But you know that was unfair for LeBron, a guy known for having cramps. You need to have great playing conditions. I felt like they might have kind of took a shot
Yeah. Well,
and tried to dehydrate him.
at least Miami didn't decide to take that route too. They kept the AC on. They kept it nice and cool for the fans and for the fellow team that was playing us. Miami just came out flat. They didn't come out aggressive. And I mean, when you're playing in a championship and you have a team like San Antonio, you got to come out like every game's game 7. You remember when the series first started, during pregame, when he was giving the team the speech, he said, "We got to treat every game like game 7." Well, you got to be able to own up to those words.
Game 1 and 2, Miami sure showed the effort and energy like they were game 7s. But game 3, they came out so flat. I mean, and then the first points were scored by Bosch. How come he only got 11 more touches after that for the entire game? And he was dominant in the first 2 games. He had been really playing well. He had 39 touches in game 1, 40 touches in game 2, and 12 touches after he hit the big 3 and made the big pass in game 2 to help solidify that victory for the Heat. I don't know what Spoelstra or what Miami was trying to do last night. D-Wade had a bunch of turnovers early.
Yeah.
Danny Green just slapping the ball out of his hand, taking it coast to coast, laying the ball up. I'm like, Danny Green is picking Dwayne Wade's pocket?
Yeah.
Come on now.
Well, I think when it gets down to something like that, it could have been a game plan where you try to draw attention away from Bosch. And, I'm just thinking about what could be the mindset that he doesn't have those touches. With that being said, once you start playing into a certain game plan and it doesn't work, it's hard to change your momentum and go back to what you were doing.
I feel like the Heat had a lot to do with the way they started off. And once that ball gets rolling, it's hard to stop it when they get momentum. You got Danny Green shooting 100% for the first half. You had Kawhi Leonard going 6 for 6 in the first quarter. So when you get those guys going and get a guy like Kawhi Leonard confidence early, especially after past games he had, it makes him harder, and then it makes it easier for him on the defensive end to just play defense. I think just by him playing that way on offense, it really helped his defense out and made him lock down on more LeBron. And these guys were absent, man. Like LeBron had, I believe, 12, 14 points in the first quarter, and then 16 actually in the first quarter, and then didn't go on to score but like 8 points the rest of the game. So
8.7 turnovers after the first quarter. I hated the Heat's energy last night. And there was one point where they cut the game to 7 in the third quarter at 81-74 before Bellinelli hit that 3, and ultimately San Antonio went on to win. But you felt like the Heat were down 25. I felt like they didn't deserve to win last night's game because of the whack effort they gave up. I mean, at one point in the second quarter, the San Antonio Spurs were 19 for 21 from the field. That's 90%.
that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. And most of them were layups or wide open threes.
One thing that you have to do is set a tone, and that goes for any sports. When you step into the court in that first quarter, you have to set the tone. And for a team that has won 2 back-to-back championships to come out that flat, it just shows you that one of those things that you practice what you preach. If you come out in a season and you play some games full speed and you come out of some games you come out off, then you want to turn it on. this is the finals. You know, this isn't the first or second round. You're playing the number 1 overall seed. You have to bring that energy from the beginning to the end, and it shouldn't take simple guys to understand that. These guys know that.
Miami's going to need help from their guards. Look at Mario Chalmers.
Yeah.
He's 3 for 12 for the series, a total of 10 points in 70 minutes. You've played 70 minutes and you got 10 points total?
Him and Cole have combined for just 14 points in the first
Norris
two games.
Norris Cole 4 for 15, 10 points as well in 47 minutes. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You know what Mario Chalmers' player efficiency rating is for the first 3 games? A negative 0.5.
I don't know if he got in the back of my a contract extension or where he's going next, but he's gonna have to tighten that up, you know. And one thing as a point guard, you gotta facilitate the offense. So even if you're not getting your buckets, you gotta be able to make the offense move around and at least be accountable for. You know, they got to be accountable for you on the court.
You know, Danny Green and Kawhi Leonard the first 2 games combined 13 for 28 for 40 points. Last night they were 17 for 21 for 44 points. I don't know if they can sustain that effort, but if San Antonio gets that effort from those 2 guys for the rest of this series, the Spurs are going to win.
Well, you know that they're always going to have, especially Danny Green. They're going to have those games. Even last year, he had Kawhi and Danny Green get hot during the middle of the series. They're going to have those games where you have those guys, those role players, that second big 3, as they call them, come off and put up those games and be sufficient and efficient. But it's a 7-game series, so every game is a different day.
One of the things I like what Popovich did was he basically let everybody know, play ball. Let go of all the tension. Don't live up to expectations, play ball. And that's one of the strategies that you have to do is there's enough tension in the air, you know what I mean, that these guys are already stressed out as it is. But it's really nice to have someone come over there and say, hey, loosen up and have fun. And I mean, really genuinely say that. And, you know, at the end of the game, did you see how he was talking to Tony Parker? I don't know if y'all saw that one shot. But
at the end of the game, I don't know what I was looking at. I don't believe it was the game. I was concerned about close to the end. Honestly.
Yeah, I saw him. He was just great floor leadership. You played the game we needed you to play. That's what we need from you every time.
Yeah.
You know?
And the reply that the announcer said that was commentating, the commentator said was, as I said, Tony Parker standing there looked like a high school kid listening to his high school coach. And that's what people want to feel, is they just want to feel comfortable and just take it back to that home, that the game that they know. And that's what happened with the differences between, I think, what they saw in the game is San Antonio was playing loose.
And one more thing that hurt Miami last night, games 1 and 2, they had a combined 23 turnovers. They had 22 turnovers last night that led to plus 20 points for San Antonio. But the one thing I can say, I don't know if San Antonio is going to continue shooting 48% from the 3-point line. They are 34 out of 71 for the first 3 games. I don't know if they can continue that hot shooting.
They're going to come back to the pack because you don't score 41 points in 1 quarter shooting that high of a clip and think that you're going to continue that for the next 3 quarters, you know. You're going to get tired and you're going to start missing those shots. That 6 for 6 is going to turn 6 for 9, 7 for 9, you know, and you're going to come back to the pack. But Miami didn't do enough in that second quarter to keep the game where it needed to be. All they need to do was get that lead down to like 9-11 before halftime.
They let it balloon to 21.
They kept getting it down to 10 and jumping back up to 13-16. You get down to 10 and jump back up to 12-15. And that's what hurt them. You know, they expended so much energy. By the end of the game, you could tell LeBron was tired and the team was dang near mentally checked out.
They were deflated because LeBron gets that team going. You know, he usually has a and one where he gets everybody up and the team gets going, or he has a monster dunk that gets the bench going and gets the crowd revved up, and he didn't have that. Yeah. Last point, Paul.
Well, you know, one of my last points is I think that they can keep that up. Boris Diaw, I mentioned that in another show that we did. Boris Diaw is playing like a beast. When I heard that he was starting in this game, I said, oh, it's on now. Because he will work you inside, outside. I have not seen a guy that big, you know, that's just that dangerous. He is getting better as he's getting older.
Miami does a bad thing with Boris. I would make Boris Diaw shoot the ball every time. His best attribute is passing. He's
Yeah.
not really a big time scorer. I would make him have to score. You're gonna have to score 30 points for y'all to beat us.
I mean,
You know, I got a question. Anybody seen Shane Battier?
I don't know why Spo didn't pull him off the bench. They had nothing going. You didn't dress Michael Beasley, who could have gave you some instant offense because obviously nobody else was doing anything. And you didn't pull Shane Battier in, and Rashard Lewis wasn't having. I don't know. Spoelstra, I think Miami as a whole, as a unit, was just off for game 3.
The arrangement from who they put on the floor and everything. It doesn't make sense.
All right. Moving on. The New York Knicks introduced Derek Fisher as their new man. 5 years, $25 million. So, guys, what do you think Fisher brings to the Knicks?
I think he studies it from a leadership standpoint, not about a me standpoint. He always sacrifices himself for the game. He's a student of the game. He said that when he took over, it was a beautiful speech. I think that he just caught everybody off guard. That it is in his heart to be able to do this job. And I think that when a guy has that much passion to do, he's going to be successful. And I'm going to be honest with you, I think it might have been a better choice than having Steve Kerr.
I think Steve Kerr just didn't have the cojones to take the New York job because it is a tough situation, you know.
With that cojones, how you say that?
The
again?
cojones.
Okay, I got it.
And I really think Derek Fisher stepped into a good situation because one, the Knicks are in the Eastern Conference. We know how bad the East is, and why would you want to go to the West? You got a great guard tandem backcourt, but you still got to deal with the Spurs, the Thunder, the Clippers. The list goes on and on in the West.
The Grizzlies. I mean, the list is so long, and it's
And
other
the
teams
East,
getting better.
I feel like, shoot, the Knicks can win 50 games next year. They still have the talent. They still have a top 5 player in Carmelo Anthony.
Well,
you know,
as of now, that's the biggest thing. They have to figure out what they're going to do with Carmelo Anthony, and what Carmelo's got to figure out what he's going to do.
Oh, the over-under for wins for Derek Fisher next year. I said they could win 50 games. I'll say they'll win at least 45 games next year.
I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to go as far as say they'll make playoffs.
They'll definitely make the playoffs.
Well, that's East Conference. You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna go wins, I'm gonna go seed wise. Since we're gonna talk about playoffs, I can see them sneaking in at a 7th to 8th seed, but I don't really see too much change in that organization over this next year. They might have a Lamar Odom on their team, which could possibly help them, but I can see them winning 40-something, 41, 42 games, getting a 7th to 8th seed because the Eastern Conference is gonna be better next year.
Moving on, Ben Tate came out in the news recently about his teammate Johnny Football, claiming that the media attention he gets is just outrageous, pretty much. And in a quote, he said, "You know, Manziel had success early in his career at A&M and won the Heisman or whatever, but lots of people won the Heisman. I mean, Mark Ingram won the Heisman, and I don't see everyone getting excited when he got in the league." So, is this like a black eye? Do you feel like there's like a mistrust or like a divide in the Brown locker room behind Manziel's fame?
I think those words are being misconstrued. When Ben Tate made that statement, he was looking out for Johnny as a teammate. He was just basically saying, "You guys, y'all need to back off and let the guy play and quit bringing us attention to our group." That's what I got out of the statements. That's what he was making.
I smell a little jealousy in the air because Ben Tate got the big contract. He should be getting all the publicity and the media ops in Cleveland, and it's Johnny Football.
It's one of those things when you listen, he's basically saying this guy hasn't done anything. This is it's a new chapter. Y'all bring all this hysteria in about Johnny Football and him going out this place and that place where he's just a kid. He's here to play football. Let him play football. And then you could judge him after he plays. But he hasn't took a snap in the NFL. He hasn't even played one down. So let the guy play football. He's going to be him. It's all right. He's a kid. Just let the guy do what he's got to do. And his work will prove anything.
I think that there's a little bit of hating in there. But, you know, I would imagine, first thing I try to do before I say anything about this situation's put myself in his shoes. It can be difficult seeing a kid walk in, hadn't done anything.
So I think that's just him being a leader and stepping up and saying, Johnny, I got your back.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure if it was more to it, it would have been put out there. I think it is what it is. And because he said Johnny Manziel coverage is annoying him. It's distracting. That's what's the annoying part. It's distracting. It's not the fact that he feels jealous. It's distracting from what they're trying to do as a team.
Find out in days to come, because usually habits repeat themselves. Yeah. And if it pops up again, it's just like, I'm just, sooner or later, it's like, why am I always bumping into you? Johnny's going to feel it. That friction will overflow, and we'll find out real soon. So, we'll stand by for words on that one.
All right, we'll keep our eyes out on that. All right, bon voyage time. We have to give a big bon voyage to Chael Sonnen. Failed a random drug test. The UFC light heavyweight failed a random drug test last month, and he will not be fighting Vitor Belfort July 5th. Also, bon voyage, Manny Machado. The Orioles third baseman suspended for 5 games after throwing a bat down the third base line against the A's Sunday afternoon. It was a pitch inside that kind of threw him off balance, but as a professional hitter, the bat's not going to come flying out of your hand like that. He's lucky he didn't get more than 5 games. And finally, bon voyage to Atlanta Falcons linebacker Sean Witherspoon. He's out for the season after rupturing his Achilles tendon. Get better soon, man. All right, and with that, it's halftime. Coming up, Rashad McCants throws the UNC program under the bus. Debo Awards, and what we're watching this weekend, or for the rest of the week. Stick around. This is Shokhouz. Shokhouz.
Let your colors run tonight. The colors of your heart.
Welcome back inside Shokhouz. I'm BSB. I got D-Mods and P-Boog still with me.
What the hell does D-Mods mean, if I can ask? Because I don't know what the hell it means. The mouth of the what?
The mouth of the South.
Okay, all right, D-Mods. All right.
D-Mods.
He acronymed it up.
He acronymed me up, huh? Without my discretion. I'm like, what the hell is he? What is he
The mouth of the South is just so long now.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy Hart. I'm like,
D-Mods.
D-Mods.
I like that. D-Mods.
Sounds good to me, man.
Bobby, the master of the hook.
Over the weekend, Outside the Lines reported that Rashad McCants claimed that he was getting pretty much walked through school at his time at the University of North Carolina, throwing people like Roy Williams and others under the bus.
Under.
What did you think of Rashad McCants' report?
When you hear something like that, it doesn't smell good, and you know the reason it doesn't smell good. And it just for us to be talking about it right now says volumes about it. The guy's been relevant for a long time. I don't know where the heck they found him at, but they found him. So they got this story. Whatsoever happens. It's one of those things that's gonna play out. But everyone knows that players get their grades twisted and manipulated in the NCAA, especially the big Division I programs, constantly. This isn't the first time it happened. This isn't the last time it happened. It didn't just start happening 10 years ago, It's one of those things that we know it. It's just you got to have that person to come out and say, this is what happened.
I mean, but he's basically defecating on the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill's whole program, graduates before him, graduates after him.
Yeah.
Claiming that tutors wrote his paper and he enrolled in bogus classes, mainly in Afro-American studies, and that Coach Roy Williams pushed him towards the easy classes. I mean, that's crazy. And then to say that he only reason he went to school, he didn't go to school to get an education. He was there to make revenue for the college, was his quote. I mean, that is ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure he made some revenue himself. Did he tell that part? Because I'm pretty sure Rashad McCants got a couple $100 or more while he was at North Carolina and got some benefits off top.
But
literally.
See, it's a problem now in 2014. It wasn't a problem in 2005 when you were the number 14 pick by the Minnesota Timberwolves. You won a national championship. They got you through college. They got you drafted to the NBA in a lottery pick where you're going to make a few $1,000,000, some money to put away. It's not their fault. You didn't have the effort or the work ethic or anything to stay in the league.
My take is like you guys are saying, it didn't bother him when he stepped up and found that out. Without that program, he wouldn't have had an opportunity to do anything. We wouldn't know who he was. Society doesn't always set us up in the best ways that we can be successful or even have an opportunity. So I'm not condoning if the colleges are doing this, but what I'm saying is you could have taken it upon yourself to walk in and say, I really would like to have some help with some education. If I'm just saying, I'm looking at it from my perspective. If you really wanted an education, you would have asked. He could have gone to any of those teachers and said, I really would like to do this, please. He had the attention of the university.
Exactly. No one put a gun to his head. No one tied him up and put him in the trunk and say, hey, we're going to write your paper for you. You got to be responsible for your own actions.
He has nobody to corroborate his story. No tutors have come forward and said, oh, yeah, we did this for him. None of his teammates have came forward and had his back with it. So, I mean, it's just all a lot of he say.
So I just don't like throwing people under the bus. I believe in individual accountability, and that's my take on this story.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep following as it goes along. All right. This week marks the 2014 FIFA World Cup. Guys, who do you got as your favorite?
I've been doing a lot of research on it. Past World Cup, I was really impressed by Germany.
Yeah.
And the way they played. They have the number 2 seed going in this year. And I'm going to put my eggs in that basket. I feel like Germany is poised to make that run.
Every time I hear the World Cup or something like that going on, I always think of Brazil. And I'm just going to be selfish.
Well, they're the favorites to win it.
I mean,
the home host team. That's an easy pick.
I'm just going to be selfish and just go that route,
You know that they tried to have it in like 12 different stadiums, and all the stadiums aren't ready to be played on yet. And then there's road work construction still going on that's not going to be done by tomorrow's match start. But teams are looking like they're going to play, and they're going to do all they can to try to win this World Cup.
And weren't they, I believe U.S. was up for in the bid when they were trying to get it.
They were.
The World Cup.
They were.
And then you go to a impoverished country that don't even have their stuff together.
It's near Rio de Janeiro. It's Brazil.
Right?
Brazilian women are some of the most beautiful women in the world.
Why'd you go there? Now I'm just like,
I want to be in Brazil
right now. I'm going into soccer broadcasting. I don't think anybody could probably say USA is even in this discussion. It would be nice to feel good, but honestly, I really don't care about USA when it comes to soccer. I want to see good soccer players play soccer. Argentina, Brazil, Spain. USA, go play basketball, football.
Reality of the USA competing for the World Cup title is asinine. Don't expect them to make it too far. And I mean, they're in Group G with Germany, Portugal, and Ghana. So they don't have an easy road. I picked Brazil because they are the favorite. It's home field advantage.
Yeah.
Any stadium they go play in out of these 12 stadiums that they have hooked up for this tournament, they are going to be the home favorite, and they got all the talent. It's just sometimes they're like the Miami Heat. Are they going to come with the right energy, or are they just going to we're just going to cruise along and just let our talent take over in the second half? So you got to watch for that. And I'm also interested in Group H just because South Korea is in that group, and I'm half Korean, so I'm be rooting for them on the side as well. What are we watching for the rest of this week? Joe, I'm start with you. What you got your eyes on?
That was a perfect segue right there, man. What are we watching this week? Since we're talking about soccer, and Bobby wants to bring up his nationality. If you guys don't know, I am Liberian. My mom and dad both born in Liberia, though I was born here. So I'm
Alabamian.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna be watching out for my African fellow members, whatever group you want to call it. But basically, I'm gonna be looking for my African nation teams. Cameroon, they'll be playing Mexico Friday, June the 13th at 11 a.m. I'll be sitting down watching that game. I'm pretty sure my dad will too. Ghana plays USA Monday, June 16th at 5 p.m. I'll try to catch that game if I don't have anything else going on. And then Nigeria will be playing Iran Monday at 2 o'clock. So I'll be back. I'll probably be doubling those up. Watch a little bit of Nigeria play and see Ghana later on. And hopefully those guys hold their end, and bring a victory home for Africa.
I'm gonna be watching the U.S. Open from Pinehurst #2. Again, Tiger Woods won't be in it, but I feel like this is gonna be Jordan Spieth's tournament. He's been so close. He was close at the Masters. He was close at the Players Championship. I think the close is gonna turn into a victory this time. So I'll be watching the U.S. Open this weekend, and of course, I'll be watching FIFA 2014. What you got your eyes on this weekend, Paul?
Well, I'll have my eyes on all the things you guys are watching, but I'm also keep up with the Kings and Rangers. I mean, this is almost done. The Kings have just stepped up and just stomped all over the Rangers. I mean, the Rangers have made some good showings and they lost some close battles, but they lose every one of them. So I was thinking for hockey, I'd rather watch paint dry. I'd rather watch the grass grow. But all of a sudden, I turned the set on and I'm like, this is pretty good.
Come Debo. Who? Debo.
All right, time for the Debo Award. The award that recognizes the big bully on the block. I'll start with you, Joe. Who's getting your Debo this week, sir?
My Debo of the Week award will be shared by the whole state of Texas. And not Texas for football, but Texas for the college baseball.
Okay.
As the College World Series starts up, you have 3 teams, man. 3 teams from the state of Texas advance to the College World Series. I believe that's the first time that's happened in over 10 years or 15 years.
Wow.
I checked the stat earlier, but I don't have it right down in front of me. TCU joined Texas Tech in Texas in Omaha, Nebraska to start this 18 tournament Saturday. So, Texas, you guys baseball gets my Debo award, bro.
Congratulations,
Debo award,
State
bro.
of Texas. All right, Paul, who you got for us?
Well, my Debo goes to Lonnie Chisenhall, Cleveland Indians third baseman. This young man, aged 25 years old, I tell you what, this guy in a recent game here, see who he's playing against. Lost my train of thought. This guy went 5 for 5.
Texas Rangers.
Texas Rangers. 5 for 5. 3 home runs.
Woo!
I'm telling you, he was smoking. I mean, he was shutting them down. And he's just playing ball, having fun. So that's my Debo for this week.
Thank you, sir. And my Debo goes to Rafa Nadal. This man won his 5th straight French Open title this past weekend, defeating Novak Djokovic. They can go ahead and just change the name of the tournament from the French Open to the Nadal. As long as he's healthy and he's playing in it, he's going to win that tournament every year, it seems like. All right, and where there are Debo awards, there are 0 awards. Athletes and performers or head front office people that just don't quite measure up. So, Paul, I'll start with you. Who's getting your 0, sir?
Eric Spoelstra. When a game gets that far out of control, you're supposed to be implementing things, telling these players what you see, making adjustments. And we were talking earlier, I haven't even seen Shane Battier at all. And I know that maybe he's not the most iconic role player on the floor, but he's sneaky good. He sneaks over into the, you don't see him raising up for the 3-pointer. You're thinking, where did he come from? The bench? But come on, Spoelstra, recognize the talent on your floor. Don't let them become one-dimensional. So, they may have the potential to be a little bit better. Believe it or not, the Heat, the world champions, but they're not showing that they're better right now. So they got the talent. I'm putting it back on the coach. So, Eric Spoelstra, calling you out.
Sorry, Spo. All right, D-Mods, who you got for us?
Hey, I'm gonna go right back to the point at hand we were talking about earlier, and I'm going to give my 0 award a week to Mr. Irrelevant, Rashad Buchanas. I mean, it's self-explanatory, the reason I'm giving it to him, and I'm not going to really elaborate on too much on that. You might have got a lot of money, but for me, you're getting a 0.
Yes, sir. And finally, my 0 goes to California Chrome's owner, Steve Coburn. After California Chrome came up short in the Belmont Stakes, just listen to his post-race interview.
You know what? He's been in 3. This is his 3rd very big race. These other horses, they always set them out. They set them out and try to upset the apple cart. I'll never see, I'm 61 years old and I'll never see, in my lifetime, I'll never see another Triple Crown winner because of the way they do this. It's not fair to these horses that have been in the game since day one. I look at it this way. If you can't make enough points to get in the Kentucky Derby, you can't run in the other 2 races.
As you can see, he was crying over spilled milk, and then came on the next day and had the nerve to say that his horse having to race 3 races in 5 weeks, and the other horses not having to race all the races was like him playing against a basketball player in a wheelchair. There are some wheelchair professional basketball players that could ride some circles around him. So for your ignorant comments and your crying over spilled milk, instead of just us praising your horse for winning the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown tournament and giving a hell of a show in the Belmont Stakes, you get the 0, sir. With that, that's the show this week. Catch episodes on Spreaker.com. You can also view our video on our YouTube channel. You can catch us on our Twitter handles as well, at Robertson T. Bobby, at The Mouth of the South, and at Paulstein7.
Hey, let me say one more thing.
Yes, sir.
I am officially a member of the National Association of Black Journalists. So
Congratulations.
it's one of those things, just taking steps, man, to chasing dreams. Get me affiliation, and hopefully it could take us somewhere.
I think I'm going to have to get in there with you, man.
Amen.
All right. Till next time, stay with the Shokhouz.
Shokhouz rocks.
Right.